Hello, everyone. My name is Angela. I want to share with you my incredible story about how I met an amazing guy despite being overweight, large hips, and a protruding stomach. Yes, it happens. It helped me not only to believe in myself, but also gave me a huge motivation to lose weight. My life has changed for the better, and I can't wait to share it with you. Well, you in turn, write an opinion in the comments, like the video, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. In general, I was born a rather thin child. Everyone told me in my childhood that I was very thin. My mother was worried that I was not eating, but my grandmother had the biggest tantrum. As you know, grandmothers are simply obsessed with making their grandchildren eat with a bang. That's how it was with me. I grew up and the pounds went into growth, but not in the sides. Personally, I did not care about the weight. I began to worry a few years later, and the reason for this was my move to my grandmother. Yes, as you may have guessed, I lived with her and I got fat sideways. Or rather, I almost stopped fitting in doorways because of the fat on my stomach. How did it come to this? Very simple. By the way, I moved to her because my parents went abroad to work. They couldn't take me with them, so they decided to leave me with Grandma for a while. I didn't mind because I loved the old lady so much. Even though she tried to feed me forever, otherwise she was super kind. So I packed up and my parents took me to her place. We said goodbye and they left for a year. My school was not far from my grandmother's house, so it was only about 5 minutes to walk. In the morning when I woke up, my grandmother was already on her feet and was making hard-boiled pancakes, donuts, and omelets. She would serve me a whole plate and I had to eat it all. Otherwise, she would threaten that I would not go to school. For lunch, my grandmother usually wrapped me chicken or turkey with a salad and side dish, plus some fruit for dessert. It was a full meal. After lunch, when I came home from school, Grandma would make a casserole or pasta or something, and I sat with her alone and had dinner. The workload at school increased, so I had absolutely no time for walks with friends. After school, I did my homework until the evening, and then we sat down to eat until after lights out. In this mode, we lived for a whole year, and without noticing it, I began to gain extra pounds. Yes, at first I didn't notice how my cheeks were rounded, my stomach appeared. I noticed this only closer to the summer, when it was time for light t-shirts and thin jeans. Imagine! I took out last year's summer clothes and realized that I did not fit into them. With horror in my eyes, I walked over to the mirror and stared at my thighs, where my jeans were stuck, and my breasts, which just wanted to tear my t-shirt. I took off my clothes and began to look at the reflection, and it seemed to me that there was another person standing there. Really, for a year, my body had changed so much. And then I started to analyze my entire lifestyle recently and was upset. My grandmother immediately ran into the room, and I accused her for being like this. She was confused, and I began to eat even more from resentment and depression. I didn't need to be told to finish my meal, because I had turned into a locust and was eating everything that was edible. My figure became even wider, and it was a vicious circle. In the end, everything affected my self-esteem, and since we became more mature, the guys already arranged interesting parties to which I was invited. I went, but no one met me from the guys. My girlfriends comforted me, and I continued to eat. So another 6 months passed. My parents stayed late, and I ate and ate. So it was until one day when I was sitting in a cafe with friends, and a guy came up to us. His name was Derek. He sat down next to us and spoke. I thought he was hitting on my girlfriend, but to the surprise of everyone, including me, he asked my name. Incredulously, I met him. It seemed to me that he was playing a joke or wants to crack. I felt a growing sense of hunger inside me. It happened whenever I was nervous. In general, it did not take long, and we began to date. Yes, he was the bomb. Derek is a handsome guy with a toned body. He accepted me for who I am and did not even try to make adjustments to my appearance. Not only was I shocked, but so were my friends. Everyone looked at our relationship as a comedy. Someone assumed that I was rich and buying it. But this was not true. Derek always said I was beautiful, and his words really made me think that I was no worse than anyone else. So I began to develop a sense of confidence. I realized that Derek had genuine feelings for me, and I decided to trust him. He never said hurtful words to me, did not reproach me for being overweight, often bought goodies and found time to listen. I didn't know what kind of actions I'd met him for, but I was happy to have him. Once I went with him to the wedding of his friend, and there was a great photo shoot. I was wearing a pink floor-length dress, had my hair done up nicely, and I felt great. The evening was not without gossip about our relationship, but I tried to ignore it, as did Derek himself. We just enjoyed each other. So it was until I received photos from the event. There was a super photographer who is famous for his work all over the country. I would have liked to invite him to my house or hire him for a photo shoot, but his work was sky high. So here's what I'm getting at. Despite the fact that his work is gorgeous and does not require any criticism, when I saw our photos, I was horrified. In the photos, I looked like a pig. And yes, I'm not exaggerating. I was in shock and I just wanted to cry and cry. In my pink dress, instead of looking like a goddess, I actually looked like a pig. Derek reassured me, but at that moment I made an important decision: to radically change and work hard on myself. The very next day, I signed up to work out at the gym without telling anyone. I picked up a diet and I pulled myself together. And you know what? It's never been so hard for me. Each training session was harder than the last, my body ached, and I was terribly hungry. I wanted to give up every time, but I forced myself to get up and go to training. I didn't want to change my body for anyone. Not even Derek. I wanted to do it for myself, and through tears and a sincere, I don't want to, I forced myself to go to the gym, and yes, I managed. I managed to do it every time. After 2 months, I realized that I could already go to the gym with ease, ate diet food, ate right, and I already even liked it. Derek was the first to notice the change. A month later, he asked me why I lost weight, and he was right. I lost 8 kilos in 1 month, another 5 in the second, and another 3 in the next 3 months, for a total of 22 kilograms. I could see the progress immediately, and I couldn't get enough of my new body and spirit. Yes, I realized that I had also strengthened morally, and I was glad of it. Derek was always worried about me, and then he started going to the gym with me. We began to work out side by side, and it became even more pleasant to go to training. My coach praised me, but at the same time was strict. I did not relax. Well, I did not allow myself this luxury. After a year, I was completely unrecognizable, and Derek and I were such a beautiful couple. We were envied by old friends, and the new ones had no idea what I was like before. You know, I was proud to show a photo and tell a story about motivation and self-improvement. I am sure that a good example is contagious, and I hope that other girls who have problems with excess weight will support me, make the right choice, and start working on themselves too. Everyone knows that this is the hardest job. In general, guys, write your opinion in the comments, and I'm waiting for your likes.